Hello all, welcome to Cloud Technologies. If you are visiting our channel for the first time, this is the Mulesoft Master Mulesoft course, which is absolutely free for everyone. We have created a new playlist. We have started the course from scratch, covering all the basics and everything in detail. So if you are visiting our channel for the first time, please subscribe and like and share our videos, and please share this to other persons also who are looking to learn Mulesoft. And this is the first video. If you are watching, please go back to this playlist and watch all the previous videos. So I highly recommended to watch all the previous videos so that you will get good knowledge and good understanding of what we are going to do in this particular course, and how we can cover everything in detail. So please watch previous videos and come back here. That will be very easy for you to follow the flow. Hi, this is our first session, the session 0. I have named it as because before we actually start the actual Mulesoft course, we have to learn the basics. If you are experienced person, maybe you can skip this section if you are aware of all these basics. If you are from non-IT, or if you are freshers who are looking for a job for the first time, this will be really helpful to you to understand little basics before you start actual Mulesoft course. So that's why I named it as session 0. In this session, not only in this session, for every session we will be following these 3 steps. First we will explain everything in theoretically, and then we will provide the use case, real-time example use case, how the project real time, how it will looks like, then hands-on session. So this will help you to understand and to practice it by your own. By end of this course, you will learn by your own, and you can handle any project. Okay. So yes, I said, like, this is I named it as session 0. These are the basics. So what we will cover in this part is this is the agenda for this session 0. So first you have to know what is web service, what is API integration, and what is variable, what is JSON data, XML data, and what is HTTP service, what is endpoint URL, what is REST service, and what is the flow, subflow, private flow, payload, message structure of Mulesoft, and what is database. These are all the minimum things you have to learn before you actually start your Mulesoft course. So let's get started. So this is the first thing, what is web service. So let's start with the web service, and let's try to understand all these things with real-time examples. Okay. So let's try to understand what is web service first. Okay. So web service is something like the service which is available over the internet, which will allow two machines to communicate with each other. Because for example, if some data is there in one system, some data is there in another machine, they need to share the data between them. So in order to complete one particular task, for example, yeah, we will discuss in detail in our upcoming slides. But at this stage, I can give an example, like if you want to get your results, exam results, your student name, student ID is there in one database, for example, and your results, exam subjects, marks, and the result pass or fail, there in this is there in another database. Let's assume that. So once you click your hall ticket number, it will send you the all the student result with the name, hall ticket number, roll number, subjects, and year, marks, and result, pass fail, everything, right? So all this information is there in two different machines. So to give you the consolidated result, it means like the complete details. If you want to get your exam result, two machines should communicate, two machines should interact with one another to share the data and to exchange the data. Then it will display all the complete result for you in the web page. Okay, so that is nothing but web service. Let's see, we will discuss everything in detail in our upcoming slide. So for now, just remember, web service is a service which is available over the internet or network. Without internet, without network, web service won't work. Okay, web service is a service which is available over network. It will allow, and it will help to communicate two machines interchangeably. Okay. So let's say, like, a web service running on a computer listens for requests from another computers. Okay, we will see this point in detail. Let's go to the next slide. So for example, Twitter, social media platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, all are kind of web services. Because if you send a request, it will send you the response. So what is request, what is response, what the data will looks like, how you are getting all these details, that we will see in later sessions in detail. Okay, so for now, just let's take an example like Instagram. You are all having Instagram profile, right? So if you would like to see your friend post, who has posted an image in Instagram, so once you go to your friend Instagram profile and click on that photo, it will show you the image in a big screen, right? So how this is happening in the behind the scenes? Or else if you would like to post a new update, like if you would like to post your photo or any video or any status in WhatsApp, okay, you just do all this in your fingertips, like you just select one photo and click on OK, or select any message or any photo, click on post. It will post that details into your Instagram page, and that will be visible to all your friends or public platform. So how this is happening in the behind the scenes is like, in the background web services are running. So that web services are taking the request, sending the response, and it will do all the background stuff for you. So you will understand all these things slowly. Okay, so for example, Twitter, social media platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook, or anything are the kind of web services. Just remember that. Okay, so before you understand what is integration, what is everything, you should understand this basic terminology, and you should remember these basic terminologies. Okay, so XML is a kind of data. It's a data format, and its full name is extensible markup language. Maybe you are all aware of this in your studies. Okay, and if you are experienced persons, as I said, like if you are all aware of all these things, you can skip this section and you can just go to the session 1. Okay, so you need to know this XML. XML is a kind of a data format which is having displaying data or having data in between the different tags. We will see the example. Okay, so JSON is nothing but JavaScript object notation. It is actually having data. It will represent data in the form of key value pairs. Okay, HTTP is hypertext transfer protocol. This is like the actual protocol where it will allow two different web services to interact with each other by using internet. So for example, wait, let me just provide you some example. So if you are taking facebook.com, I am just typing facebook.com. If you can see, it will show. You can just click here. It's see here. If you can observe, it is showing HTTPS. So S is for secured. We will discuss this later. But what is HTTP? This is a protocol. By using this HTTP protocol only, every web services is used to communicate. So you just typed facebook.com, but internally it is adding this HTTP, because by using this HTTP protocol only, every service is going to interact in the internet. So this is a protocol. Just remember that for the time being. Okay, yeah. So now let's see what is API. So web service, API, both are similar terms. API is also used to provide a service kind of stuff, because two applications will interact with each other. So by using API, two different applications are going to interact with each other. There is no need of internet or network. Okay, but in case of web service, there should be a network compulsory. Okay, so just remind that point. So what is API? API full form is application programming interface, as per the definition. So but we don't want to remember all these these explanations, abbreviations and all, because we are not going to write any exam. So just for your namesake, I am providing the full name. So what is the API actually? It is a set of definitions and protocols. It has complete set of definitions and protocols, like we have seen HTTP protocol, like, right? So like that, we have different protocols. Number of protocols are there. It will, by using these definitions and the protocol, it will allow two applications to communicate with each other. So for example, if you are sending a mail to someone while you are applying a job, you have to send a resume to your HR, right? So to send a mail, what you are going to do, you will going to compose a mail and you will attach a resume as an attachment to that Gmail. Okay, so let's assume that Gmail is another service and attaching the file is another service. So how these two are going to communicate? By using API. Okay, and we will see very real-time example in our next slide. So as of now, API is a set of definitions and protocol which will allow to communicate two applications with one another. Web service is used to communicate two services. Sorry, two. Let's see. And second, yeah, web services allow two machines to communicate with each other. Okay, but API is allows two applications to communicate with each other. Okay, so the difference is like all APIs are not web services, because web service should have network or internet, but every web service is an API, because web service is a kind of API. It's one form of API which will allow two systems or two machines or two applications to communicate with each other by exchanging data, by sharing the data. Okay, so let's see one yeah, okay, before we are going to that example, we have to remember these two types. We have two types of APIs. Okay, majorly we have another types of APIs also, but in majorly we are going to use SOAP service or REST service. That too in Mulesoft or any integration platform, they will prefer a REST service only over the SOAP service, because REST is very easy to learn and it's a kind of handy service. But few clients or few projects use SOAP service also. So we will see these two APIs in our course. But as of now, just keep in mind we have two different types of APIs as a primary thing. So SOAP and REST service. So say SOAP API is nothing but simple. I mean, this is again abbreviation. Simple Object Access Protocol. REST means the representation state transfer. SOAP will use XML data to exchange between two different services. REST will use JSON data. So let's see what is XML data, how we can represent XML data, how JSON data in this course itself. Okay, see, so now let's try to understand how this API is work, and how the two different services or applications are going to communicate with each other. Let's assume that you are in India, okay, and your friend is there in North America or South Africa or something somewhere. So if you would like to chat with that particular person who is there in another country, what you are going to use? You will use Facebook chat or WhatsApp or Twitter, or if you would like to share some photos or some post kind of stuff, what you are going to, you can use Instagram, anything, any social media network is right. So how the information is sending from India to South Africa over the internet, how the information is going from here to there. Or if let's assume that your friend is there somewhere in North America or South Africa something, he would like to share some data to you who are residing in India. How they are going to share that information over the internet? What is the work behind doing? Okay, so how the information is sending from one place to another place? This is nothing but by using APIs. Okay, so let's assume that let's try to understand API in general terms. Let's assume that you and your friend or someone who went to a restaurant. Okay, you are going to order some food for you. Okay, before that, one waiter will come to you. Waiter will give you the menu card. You will just check that menu card and you will just order your food. He will write down the order and he will take that order to the kitchen where the actual food is going to process. Okay, so he is the waiter. He will take your order and he will take that order and he send that order to the kitchen. For example, like the table number 2 guys are have ordered these items, just to prepare those items. So this is the kitchen where your order is going to prepare. For example, if you have ordered any fried rice or any juice kind of stuff, it will get prepare in this kitchen. And once the order is getting prepared, your same waiter who took your order, he will go to kitchen, he will bring that food, and he will deliver the food to you and into your, I mean, at your table. Okay, so he will take that food from the kitchen, he will deliver that food to you. First thing, he take the order, he send that order to the kitchen where the food is going to process. So once the food is processed, he again went to that kitchen, he will deliver the food to you at your table. So this is nothing but a process happening in API. Here this waiter guy, he is nothing but API. Okay, so you can remember this waiter as an API here, because he take the request and to the server, and he take the response and he deliver that response to you. So here order taking order is, I mean, sending details, I mean, sending a request from I mean the order details from your table to kitchen. This is nothing but request. You are requesting the order to the kitchen, and once the food is prepared, they send the response. Yeah, your food is ready, you can just have it. Like that, that is the response. You are getting the response back. So this is the request, this is the response, and who is taking all this stuff? Waiter. He is nothing but API here. Okay, just try to remember this example whenever you are going to think about API. That will be very easy for you to remember. Let's see. So here, this is the client, this is the server. So let me go back to previous screen. So this is the client who are requesting the data, this is the server who are providing the data. So client actually requesting the food from the kitchen, which is the server in this case, and the server provide the response to the client. So this is nothing but client server architecture. And here the API takes the request from the client and send to the server, and once the required details are ready, it will take the response from the server and deliver to the client. This is nothing but API, just like our restaurant example. Okay, I hope you understand the API, what is API now. Okay, so let's see another example. So as we discussed earlier, to check your student details, you will provide a result year, first year or second. You need to provide all these details along with hall ticket number, and you can just click on the get memo. Then only you will get your student results, right? So this is the UI, and once you enter all these details are considering as a request. Once you click on this button, all these details are sent as a request to the student database. Okay, then once the details are getting from that database, I mean getting from that student server, it will display the results like this for you. This is the response. So wait, yeah, this is the request you are sending, and this is the response you are getting. Okay, with the details, all the details, pass, fail, marks, subjects, everything, all these details are saved in student server. So once you send a request, that API will go to that server and bring that details for you as a response. It will display the response in that particular screen. So this is another kind of API. I hope you understand API is very well. So let's go to another topic. So we discussed about what is web service, what is API. Now let's see what is REST and what is HTTP service, what is endpoint URL. All these are interrelated to one another. So that's why I will cover all these three topics all together. Okay. So let's try to understand how the REST will look like, how the REST API will look like. Okay, so we discussed about like the API will send a request to the server, and it will send the response back to you as a client. How that will happen? By using this endpoint URL. This is nothing but URL. URL means uniform resource locator. So this is the URL, actual URL. Once you click on that get memo here, so here once you click on this get memo, all these details are actually sending in the form of this endpoint URL, in the form of endpoint URL to the server. So server will understand this endpoint URL. Okay, what details the client is requesting. Then the server will send the response in the form of payload. So this is nothing but REST API. REST means representational state transfer, as we seen earlier. So this REST API uses endpoint URL to connect to the system or to send a request to the server. So what are the different parts of an URL? So this is the protocol. To form this URL, you need to remember what are the different sections or parts in this URL. Okay, this is the endpoint URL. Let's see this HTTPS or HTTP are the protocols. So HTTPS only there in general because this is the secured one. For our practice purpose, we can use HTTP protocol, which is not secured. Okay, so first one is the protocol and colon double slash. After that double slash, what you will find, this is website address or localhost, which is nothing but the host name where the server is located. So this is the protocol to get the details, and this is the host where the server is located. And after that you will put one slash. This is the syntax for the endpoint URL. After that you will find one slash. So if you have anything after this slash, which is called as a resource. So what is a resource? This is nothing but resource name. So what is the resource? Let's see that. So let's go back to our Facebook example again. So once you click on enter, it will go to the Facebook server. It will bring you this login page. For example, if you have given a wrong password, in general you will just log in with your credentials, but just for practice purpose I'm just typing any wrong details. So once you click on login button, all these details are going as a HTTP response. As I have given an invalid thing, see, you will get an error like email address, mobile number is not located in our server. Okay, so now observe this. This is the URL. We didn't type anything here, right? We just clicked on login button. Once all the details are sending as a HTTP request to the server, now let's observe this. So this URL, this HTTPS is the protocol, and this is the host. Facebook.com is the host, which is the server of Facebook. And after this you will put one slash, it will add one slash, the endpoint URL. Then it will show the action login button. So you click on login button, right? So that is the action, and with all the details which you have provided, those will be added as a resource name or query parameters and all the remaining required parameters. We will see the remaining part earlier, in the upcoming sessions, but just remember protocol, host and resource path. So this is one resource. Or else if you clicked on any image, let's say like we are going to bring any flower images. Once you click on this image, it will send the request to that particular server where this flower image is getting stored. So once you click here, or any image, once you click here, it will bring you that image. See the endpoint URL. This is the endpoint URL. So for each and every resource, and here in this case, this photo is the resource. This image is the resource. In this case, the login page is the resource. So if image or text file or any page, anything is called as a resource. To bring that resource back to you as a response, this is endpoint URL will be useful. This endpoint URL is called uniform resource locator, because for each and every resource, that endpoint URL is unique. It means one resource will have only one endpoint URL. So like that URL is unique. Okay, for each and every resource, a particular specific endpoint URL is there. Just like that, you have friends in your college, or you have a different number of students, right? For example, in your class you have 40 members. All 40 members may have same name. Any 2 or 3 members may have same name, but your student ID is different. ID is unique. So you have different ID numbers. By using that ID numbers, they will identify you, right? So like that, the endpoint URL is unique. For each and every resource, endpoint URL is unique. Names might be same or different. Okay? So let's dig into this topic in detail in our upcoming sessions. Okay, I hope you understand what is endpoint URL. as of now. So once you send the HTTP service, this is nothing but HTTP service. By using this HTTP service, we are sending the request to the server. So once the server is getting ready with the response, it will send the response to you in the browser in the form of XML data or JSON or HTML page or image, anything, any human readable format. See here, this is the image format, we are getting the response. But here in the login page, it is showing a HTML page. This is nothing but HTML page. It will send as a response to you. And in this case, it is sending photo, I mean image as a response to you, so image file. In some cases, in the real time API's implementation, you will get response as a XML also, XML data or JSON data, just the data, there is no UI, just you will get XML JSON as a response. So that is nothing but request, response, and REST API URL and HTTP service. So now let's see, from beginning onwards we are discussing about what XML data, JSON data, XML data, JSON data. So how the XML data structure will look like and how the JSON data structure will look like. This is just a simple example for you to make you understand the difference between the different data formats. Okay. So let's assume that this is a text file. Let's assume that we have a text file. In that we have one question and answer in the English language and English format. Like what is your name and what is your, how much money you have and where are you from, for example. So we can say in general, like my name is Mulesoft or something, and I am from India or Hyderabad or Bangalore, and I have 1,000 rupees with me for now. As of now, I have 1,000 rupees with me. Something you can say anything in just a simple English language in the form of sentences. So sentence formation, keys for sentence formation, words formation is nothing but English format. So how you can represent the same details in form of JSON format. So this format is called as JSON format. So the same information you will represent in the form of JSON like this. This is nothing but key value pairs. This is keys, this is value. This is key, this is value. This is key, this is value. It means like question and answer, you can say. What is your name? Name Mulesoft. Country India. Money 1,000. Okay. But in our normal English form, you can say the complete sentence form. This is JSON form. In the JSON form, the file name should be user.json, and you can represent the details in this format as a key value pair. And the syntax should be, first you have to put all these details into the flower braces. Open flower brace, closed flower brace. Okay, in that flower braces, you will represent key value pairs with doubles quotation. So name double quotation colon value, key double quotation. Key and value you should represent in double quotes, and colon should be separated between the key value. So one key, one value is nothing but pair, key value pair. This key, this value is key value pair. So that's why JSON data is represented in the form of key value pairs. Number of keys, number of values are there, na? So name, you should remember, you should represent name in the form of double quotation and a colon, and answer, what is your answer, what is your name, Mulesoft. So double quotation and answer, and you should put comma. Then again next question, next answer in the form of key value, then comma, then key value. And if you have last key and value, you should not keep comma as per the JSON syntax. For each and every key value, you should put comma at the end, and if this is the last value, you should not put comma. This is the syntax of JSON, and in this way you can represent any data in the JSON format. Okay. So then coming to XML format. What is XML format? So XML format actually different from JSON. It have a root tag. Everything you represent everything in the form of tags. Here we called it as tags. Here key value pairs. So tag, what is tag? You will represent question in this tag. Okay. Answer will be the middle value, and you need to end the tag. Here you no need to end or close or open the tag something. This is just key value. But here you should have one root tag root tag means the primary heading, you can say primary heading, and to that questions and answers should be there in the form of tags. So name, open tag. In this tags you need to mention name and end tag slash name. In between those open tag and end tag you should provide your answer. So open tag country, close tag slash country, middle you will have the answer India. So money, one tag, open tag, and close tag slash money. Between those two tags you will provide your answer. This is how you can represent any file, any data in the form of XML format. And the file extension is user.xml. You can save this file by using .xml format. So I hope you understand the basic structure of JSON and XML file. Let's see the complex details and in detailed structures. Detailed in-depth details about all these things in our upcoming sessions. Meanwhile, you can just practice and take any example. Just practice to represent the data in the form of JSON, in the form of XML. This will help you while you practice your Mulesoft code. So now what is integration? Okay, so we have seen API, web service and different data formats, everything, right? So now what is integration? This is the main thing where any integration tool will take into picture, because Mulesoft is nothing but an integration tool which will integrate different services, different connectors. Okay. So what is meant by integration is nothing but it will allow different web service, different APIs to communicate with each other. Okay, so let's say A, B, C, D, E something. Let's say we have 5 APIs or 5 web services which want to share the data and communicate data with each other. We can use integration platform, and we will see in depth. This is point-to-point connection, because they are integrating directly. They are communicating directly with one service to another service, and by using any integration tool, you can it will be added as a middleware. And if any service want to discuss with another service, or it need data from any other service, it will communicate through this middleware, this integration platform. It won't communicate directly like this in this diagram. It will just communicate through middleware. We will see these details in depth. Okay, so that's why I don't want to elaborate here, because it will confuse you at this time. So just remember, Mulesoft is an integration tool. It will allow different services to communicate with each other. So now, what is payload? Okay. So you have to remember, or you have to learn another couple of basic stuff related to Mulesoft, which is nothing but a few things like what is payload. Payload, if you find any answer in Google, what is payload, it will show you different answers. But in terms of Mulesoft, or in terms of our coding language, payload is nothing but output and result. Okay? Output or result or response from the service. So if in this case, like in this student example, or let's say we in the student result example, we just clicked on get memo, and we get all the student results details, right? So that details is nothing but payload. The details in the form of XML or JSON format is nothing but payload. So payload is a response or output from the another connector. So see, this is the essential information and data block. You can say this, read these definitions, but in general I can say like payload can be sent or received in a variety of formats. So if you would like to send these details to some other service, you can send this payload as a JSON format, something like that. So message payload in Mulesoft, message payload that contains the message, the actual body of the message, the actual details which you are going to send to another server or as a response, which will be called as a payload. We will understand what is this payload, how it looks like once we start our Mulesoft flows implementation and all. But payload, you can just remember payload as a response or output from the service. Okay. So what is variable? Variable is nothing but one, let's assume that one place or one name, one just memory block where you are going to save some data, and in future if you would like to get that data, you can just if you can just get that data or read that data by using that variable name. For example, if you have different bank accounts, let's say like you have SBI, you have HDFC, you have ICICI Bank, something. So, for example, if you have two different bank accounts like ICICI or HDFC, you have to you want to save some money into two different banks. Okay, because you don't want to use that money right now. You want to save that money. Okay, so you can just save some 10,000 in one HDFC bank and 15,000 in ICICI bank. So whenever you need that money, whenever you would like to spend that money, you need to get that money from that bank. Okay, so here that ICICI bank you can name it as a variable. HDFC bank you can assume it as another variable. So if you would like to withdraw money from ICICI bank, you need to get that 15,000 from ICICI bank by using ICICI bank variable name, right? So if you would like to take 5,000 from HDFC bank or 10,000 from HDFC bank, you can just name that HDFC bank name and you can just get that 10,000 by using those particular ATM cards and that. So receiving money, that is a different concept, but just to make you understand, I just specify the variable name, what is variable. So like that, if you don't want to use the information which you have right now, you can save that information into one variable, and whenever you would like to use that information, you can just get that information by using that variable name. That is a simple concept. Okay, so variables are used to store pre-event values within the flow in Mulesoft. So the data can be retrieved, data or information or any details you are saved in that variable. We can retrieve those details or we can get that detail whenever we want, whenever you are going to process that information later in future in your application. So variable is nothing but a name you give to the computer memory locations in general terms. Okay, so now this is Mule message structure. This is completely stick to Mule structure. This is completely related to Mulesoft. Okay, so how the Mule message will looks like. So once you send a response, I mean once you implement the flows, once you have implement the your code and all, then you will get to know what is Mule message, how the Mule message will looks like. As of now, just remember Mule message will have two different parts. One is attributes, another one is payload. This is just for certification exam purpose. Okay, but you won't understand this at this stage, to be frank. So once we start our practice and our upcoming sessions, you will get to know how the Mule message will look like, what is attribute and what is payload. So payload we already discussed, like payload is a result or output body of the message, and attributes is metadata. What is metadata? Just ignore now, we can see this later. So just remember two different parts Mule message will have. And now this is the particularly related to Mulesoft. I will explain this the flows and the different flow types in once we start practice by using Anypoint Studio and all. Okay, let's come to this section again once we start the practice the Mule message structure and everything. So before that, why I have captured all these things under basics section is, right, this is Mulesoft basics. All these things are previous things are just normal basic stuff. Okay, so that's it for this. So let me show you, just to give you an overview. So flow, what is flow and different types of flow. Flow is nothing but just an actual your business implementation, and it has three different types of flows of flow and private flow. We will see all these details in depth in our upcoming sessions. So now, what is a database? I think all of you are aware of what is database. If not, you can just remember database as a databases are used to store the information, and actually it will maintain the information in the form of tables, rows and columns. In your curriculum or in your studies, you will get, I mean you might already heard about this SQL database, Oracle database or something, right? So database is nothing but it is having it is used to store the information in the form of different tables, and each table will have different rows and columns, So all the data together stored in the database. Whenever you are going to retrieve or receive the data from the database, you can get those details by using queries, SQL queries or Oracle queries and all, right? Yeah, so that's it for this basic section. I hope you will get a few details. I think you understood a few different details, few basic stuff in this session. So let's, as I discussed, as I informed, like we will get to know this message structure and different flow types in our upcoming session in detail. So just remember the basics now. Okay. So yeah, that's it for this session, and we are ready to start our session 1, which is going to do all the setups. Okay, so now in this session we have covered all the basic stuff, and the next session we will see how to set up your system and how to do all the installations related to Mulesoft, how to your system is getting ready to start the practice. So thank you. Let's see in another session.